Hey, this is Alvin.
I'm Sid.
Christian.
And on today's show, we're going to be talking about what we're looking forward to in the new Star Trek Picard show.
Live long and prosper.
Engage.
On screen.
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain.
Do it.
Photon torpedoes armed and ready to launch.
He's dead, Jim.
Red alert.
Today is a good day to die.
I'm a doctor, not a zookeeper.
We are Borg.
Make it so.
Warp speed, now!
I don't know about you, I've been other than the trailers, which I've watched like a gazillion times, I've been basically trying to avoid any other, press about it, just because I don't want too much stuff spoiled for me. So for me, like one of the things I've noticed is that, we've seen like a somewhat different version of Picard. One thing I have heard is that he didn't want to do another TNG. He didn't want to do a TNG reunion show. I mean, he was okay with people coming in, but he didn't want it just to be like, hey, let's just walk down nostalgia road and bring Captain Picard back. If he brought it back, he wanted it to have purpose. Like, so he just finished Logan, right? And that I felt for him probably was really invigorating, right? To have a good send-off for that character.
Right.
That is the kind of model that this show should follow on some level, or at least that's what it's, it seems like Patrick Stewart, the best he could hope for was something like Logan, which makes sense then, which I hadn't thought of before, but you sort of suggest that he was maybe the influence behind not having too many of the old TNG people in here. The idea that this is a send-off for his specific character. It has a purpose. It's not just this walk down memory lane.
Yeah. And I'm sure he's
Makes
happy.
sense.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be happy to have everyone back. But I think for him, in order to come back, he wanted something where it felt more personal. Because if you look at Logan, it was a very personal story for both of those characters, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that in order to come back, it had to be different so that it wasn't just, Captain Picard in space or Admiral Picard in space again, like it had to be something different.
It has to be, certainly.
Yeah, it totally has to be different. Something that's more of the human side for Picard. And what he does, like when he's not wearing the uniform, in this case.
Yeah, how does he handle retirement?
How does he handle retirement? How does he handle life outside of Starfleet, right?
Being thrust back into this adventure mode, but with no regulations you have to follow, right? No Captain Picard, no crew.
It's just Jean-Luc. Or, Picard.
just the way you were describing that, though, Sid, I'm just imagining like a 10-episode series is just about like the difficulties of tending to a vineyard, and there's like, one episode is just him dealing with the winery bureaucry and the
paperwork, the red tape involved, right?
And it all culminates on like him putting his wine out into the for like this competition. Yeah. Will Picard's wine win the competition?
And introducing Best in Show, Picard, 2135,
Golf claps.
And then the Borg invade and kill everyone at the wine mixer / wine competition.
At the Catalina wine mixer, by the way.
Adventure.
Yeah, for me, I'm hoping for a more cerebral show. I love Star Trek Discovery, I do. But honestly, it suffers from the same issue that the J.J. Abrams movies have. The same problem, which is point A to point B to point C. No thought of whether or not you should go there, and even if you got there, it's not about. They don't work out the little specifics that you have to work out. Yeah, and I'll just use an example in Star Trek Discovery, and I love the season 2 finale, but it was a spectacle. And it's like, okay, so Sarah can go from Vulcan to the Discovery and then back, but you can't get any more Starfleet ships to assist you fighting off, this, rogue AI? Really? You can't.
Discovery suffers from chronic JJ-itis and was probably the best indication for people who were wondering what the final Star Wars movie was going to look like. That's all you needed to see. Not that he didn't do Discovery, but spiritually Discovery.
Yeah, because you have Alex Kussman, who's been kind of involved in the show, and for me, I want the production value, the visual production value of Star Trek Discovery, but with more thought and careful thought put into the show. That's what I feel that they're promising, and they darn well better deliver.
do less of a just pure action spectacle, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
I want action, but I don't want it constant action, like
That's what Star Trek was originally anyway, all about the, drama, the character development, the interpersonal connections with each of the characters.
The analogies to real life, I think they have big potential here to deal with, to make comparisons to the refugee crisis, which we've brought up a couple of times, in other shows, or, where, you have Romulans who are probably going to be refugees. You're going to have maybe some Borg refugees. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of moral questions that can be raised and a lot of issues that you can make parallels to. And I think that's Star Trek's bread and butter, which we have moved away from.
Yeah.
And I think that with Picard, they
moved away from in such a diplomatic way of saying, blew up and moved on.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Pretty much,
basically.
Just completely abandoned the moral responsibility that the franchise that was supposed to be about, right? It was supposed to be something different about a utopian society and trying to imagine what that would look like and the struggles, what struggles would still exist in a utopian society.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
and I think Picard, the new show is probably going to give. I think this is their chance to bring all that bread and butter back to where it should be, and how it all started anyway. What Star Trek was supposed to be. So hopefully we'll see more of that, or hopefully we see any of that in this upcoming show.
And obviously they're setting up for something interesting to be happening. But I'm wondering if you guys are at all concerned about something that I thought about when watching the trailer for the first time, or that something concerned me. We've talked a couple times now about Logan and the analogies, and it's kind of hard to get around the striking similarities of this new series starring, Patrick Stewart playing an elderly version of a character he's widely known for, and with this young girl character played by an unknown being a central part of it, and having some kind of mysterious powers, right? Like there's some real analogies there that I don't think are just they're not accidental, but like I'm a little worried in the sense that the show's going to have to do quite a bit of work to differentiate itself and not just come across as like, we nabbed that idea.
Logan worked.
Yeah.
This other idea
you liked
worked.
Logan. Well, let's give
replicate a bunch of other stuff that did work, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, which, I mean, Logan totally did works, but at the same time, you don't want this show to... You want this show to like differentiate itself from that.
Yeah, it's good to stand on its own feet, right? It can't just rest on the laurels of like TNG or anything else that kind of came before it. It has to establish itself and like earn itself, right? Earn its place.
For sure. And it has to earn itself where you not only retain Star Trek fans, but maybe even gain new fans as well.
Yeah.
And that's, for the longest time, Star Trek has kind of had a cult following where, it's Star Trek, but it's for nerds, blah, blah, blah. But with that said,
I feel that used to be the stereotype, right?
Yeah,
I think it's moved past that now.
It's totally moved past that now. And I guess you could give credit to J.J. Abrams.
No,
on
but
that,
this is exactly it. The way they tried to move past it, and the way that the commercial play that they've been making, presumably is how they've been funding this show, how they funded all these new shows, is they made an argument to the higher ups that how we have this established base who will chug down any content we feed them. Yeah. Well, hey, what if we made it also like Star Wars and a bunch of adventure sci-fi shows? Then we can steal that audience because they'll say, it's Star Trek, it's something I've heard of, but now it's like it's 60% action scenes, so I can watch this too. Great. This is the fundamental mistake they've made for...
Well, the thing is that works to an extent, right?
I'm sure it's worked out for them commercially.
Because they want to appeal to everybody.
To an extent. Because if you look at what's happened into Star Trek Discovery, to the new Star Wars movies, to the J.J. Abrams movies, by the time, if you look at what's happened, I mean, there have been money makers, but not... You're starting to see that the casual audience that they were grasping for they've lost interest. The hardcore fans are getting pissed off. There are a lot of things that I do like a lot of things, but it's like, do I really want to invest more time in this, because
Yeah.
if I, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to think that they started to realize that, I'm hoping that Picard is that, that show that they've decided, okay, well, we know that there's a market for, TNG fans and for Star Trek fans who don't want the actually blippy, or the the phaser stuff, the whole, like the constant action stuff, right?
Explosions and the occasional body part being shown, right?
Run that back for me again. actually,
But you know what I'm saying, though, right? I'm hoping that they're going to do better with this. Like they're going to, they've realized that, okay, so maybe
it'll be a disaster if they don't.
Yeah.
It'll be just. I honestly believe that. I mean, whatever. It's being too harsh for judging in advance. I think it will be a disaster if they don't do it. But with the Picard character, it's like they gave themselves a shot, right?
Yeah.
Because TNG was always the most. Not that it didn't have action, but it
was the most cerebral, I think, out of all of them.
I think it was like balanced. For me personally, I think it was balanced.
It was very balanced. It was
there's like some
about diplomacy and more classical, like sci-fi type.
Yeah,
it
was all using the words, not like using the sword, right?
Yeah, basically. It was really trying to start from that position that that Roddenberry wanted to explore, which is what are the issues you will have in a utopian society, right? It's like. It's not just like we're at war. It's just like the 20th century. It's like, no, what if we imagine a better future? And then also acknowledge that there's still going to be difficulties to deal with
difficulties,
because
right?
of human nature. What are the limits of human nature versus like society?
All right, well, let's. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to Star Trek Picard. So here's hoping. Here's hoping.
Hope for the best.
Yeah. Don't screw it up.
Diplomacy, vineyard politics. These are Picard sponsoring local politicians.
Competing at the local Catalina wine mixer.
I want to see Picard at the Catalina wine.
The Trekily theme is Gravity by Stanley Gurvich, found on Artlist. All stock images and videos were acquired through Pixabay, podcasting services acquired through Spreaker. All images and videos related to Star Trek are owned by CBS Corporation and are used within fair use laws. Please don't sue us.
Thanks for being on board today. If you like the show, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. We really enjoy doing these episodes, and if you'd like to support the show, please consider buying us a coffee. You can do that on CoolDiscuss.com, where you can also check out our other shows. Until next time, we are the Borg. Resistance is futile.
Buy us a coffee.
Buy us a coffee.
Coffee, please.